Welcome to this CapCut Beginner's Guide, where I will take you through step by step from importing your first clips to color grading like a pro. And I'll also share a few performance tips to make CapCut run smoother on your device. So, hit that subscribe button and let's get started. First of all, open up your web browser and type in capcut.com in the address bar and press enter. This will now take you into the CapCut official website. Now, from the homepage, just click on the download button, and this will download the CapCut installer on your device. Once it is downloaded, you can simply open up the file, and you can click on the location button to change your preferred location for the app. Just wait for a while until the installation is completed. And if you already have a previous version of CapCut installed, then this will update the application to the latest version. And after the installation is completed, the CapCut application will open up. And while you may not see any projects, if this is the first time you're using the app, you can click on the Create Project button to create your brand new project right away. Once you create your project, you will find your media section at the top left corner. In the latest version, you can directly drag and drop your videos, photos, as well as audio files. On the previous version, you can click on the Import button and then browse for your files. You can select multiple files and then open them to add them to your media list. Now, as mentioned before, you can add videos as well as photos and audio files. Once you have your desired media, you can drag them to your timeline one by one to place them at your desired location. Now, alongside the media tab, you will also find audio section. Go ahead and click on it, and you will now see various different audios that you can use within your project. You can listen through the various audio files by clicking on it, and if you want to use this, just click on the plus button to add it onto your timeline. You also have the option to record voiceover using your microphone right within the application. Just click on the microphone icon underneath the player tab, and you can now use your microphone by using the record button. You will also find options to reduce echo as well as enhance your voice quality. And if other tracks have audio in them, make sure that mute project is selected. Once your voiceover is recorded, it will be added onto your timeline. When you open up the CapCut window, you will find the menu button at the top left corner. Go ahead and click on it, and then click on Settings. Now within the Settings page, click on Performance, and then make sure that the first two options to speed up hardware encoding and decoding is turned on. Also make sure that Render Interface with GPU is turned on, and also turn on the Proxy option. Then scroll down, and also make sure that Auto Render is turned on. The rest of the settings are good as they are, and now you can click on the Save button. After this, the settings that you have just chosen will be applied to your project. And that is how easy it is to speed up your performance on the CapCut editing app with just a few clicks. Now, if at any point you would like to cut within your clip, then there are three kinds of cuts that you can make. Just pause the vertical bar at the location where you would like to make your cut. And now, among the three different cut options, if you choose the Delete Right option by clicking on this icon or by pressing the W button on your keyboard, the section of the clip at the right of this vertical bar will be deleted. Now let's undo this by pressing Ctrl Z, and let's talk about the other cut. Alongside this, you will find the Delete Left option. If you click on this button or press the Q shortcut, then the section of the clip left of the vertical bar will be removed. Let's undo this once again. And finally, the Split button or the shortcut of Ctrl B can be used when you want to cut the clips into two different parts. By using the Split option, you can change the speed of a different section of the video and perform various different other actions. You can also cut middle part of the video. Let's say, for example, I would like to remove the middle section of this clip. Then I can simply split between the two sections of the clip that I want to remove and simply delete this part to now achieve my shorter clip. And with this method, you can cut your videos, your audio files, as well as image clip within your project. Now, if you wish to add your transition, just click on the Transitions option at the top, and you will see various different transitions that you can use. Just hover over to any transition in order to view in real time how this transition will pan out. Once you find your desired transition, you can simply drag it and place it on your timeline. When you place it between two clips, it will now act as your transition, and you can watch how it looks. You can change the duration of your timeline by grabbing the edge of this transition. You may also use the duration slider at the top. Now, you may have noticed on various different videos that while using B-roll footages, keeping the frame real still makes the video kind of boring. So we kind of want to replicate some movement going on with the camera. To do this, we can pan and zoom onto the video. So simply stop the vertical bar right at the point where you want to start panning. And now with the video selected, underneath the basic tab, you will find the scale option. Just click on the keyframe button at the right side, and this will now add a diamond-shaped icon, which is the keyframe indicator. This is now the point where the panning will begin. Now move the slider a little bit ahead until the point where you want the camera to pan. Then once again click on the keyframe button, and this will add your second keyframe. Now with the keyframe selected, you can use the scale slider to increase or decrease the scale. If you increase it, this will zoom in, and if you decrease, it will zoom out. So choose your desired zoom level, and as you can see, the video quickly zooms into the scene. This effect is what's called a zoom in effect. Alternatively, you can also perform a zoom out effect, and for this, I'm going to add another keyframe a little bit ahead. Now moving further ahead, I introduce another keyframe, and with this selected, I can zoom out once again using the scale slider. And now when we check out the complete result, the video first zooms in to the cloud and then zooms out once again. Now if you wish to reduce the duration and make this zoom in or zoom out faster, you can reduce the distance between the keyframes. And this will now zoom in or zoom out much faster than before. Alternatively, if you increase the distance, this will increase the duration for the zoom in or zoom out effect to take place. And with this option, you can create interesting camera movements to keep your audience engaged to your video. Now, apart from zooming in to a video, you can also pan around. Let's say we want to start the footage from the leftmost section of the cloud, and we slowly want to move the camera towards the right. Well, in this case, we can use the position option. Just place your slider to the point where you want your panning to begin, and make sure that this is the starting point of your video. Now add another keyframe, and with it selected, just move the position of the video to your desired end position. Once that is done, you can watch your preview, and you will now notice that the video pans towards the direction that you selected. Once again, you can decrease or increase the distance to change the duration of the panning effect. If at some point you would like to add a text element, then at the top section you can find the text option. Go ahead and click on it, and you can now add your desired text layer. You may use the default text option to add a default text, and then you can change the text elements by yourself. From the top right corner, you have various different preset styles that you can use as well, and there are various different fonts for you to choose from. You can also change the font size, and you may use the bold, underlined, and italic texts. You also have the option to use all of the letters at lowercase or uppercase, as well as combined. After changing all of your desired option, you may also add animations as well as effects onto your text. To add a speech bubble, you may also go into the bubble option and then choose your preferred text bubble style. There are also various different effects that you can use for your text element. You can click on any of the effects and it will be applied to your text right away. At the top section, you also have the animation option that you can use in order to add various animation elements to your text. For example, you can make the text appear as if they're being typed using a typewriter from the Typewriter Animation tab. After adding your desired animation effect, your changes will be saved to your text element. Other than the default text, you also have various different templates based on popular styles that are being used on various different platforms and for various different provisions. You can try all of these presets to add your desired text element using your desired text effect. Now, if there is a text that you would like to highlight within your project, then first you will need an image file of the color that you would like to use for highlighting. This is usually a yellow color. You can simply search for this kind of image, and once you find your desired color, just save this on your device. You can then import this to your CapCut project, and now just drag it onto your timeline above the text that you would like to highlight. Once it is above your desired text, look at the right side and scroll down, and then expand the blend mode. Within the blend mode, click on the drop-down menu and then choose Multiply. This will now make the text visible. After this, click on the mask option, and now you will see various different masks. Click on Add Mask and then choose the rectangle option. Now you can resize your mask. Just choose your desired masking size and place it in your desired starting location. Just highlight the first word, and now scroll down, and alongside mask settings, you will find the keyframe button. Click on Add Keyframe, and this will now add a small diamond icon within your first frame where you have added the mask on the first letter. After this, move forward onto your timeline and then add another keyframe. And now on this keyframe, make sure to highlight the entire text. Once that is done, you can now preview how your text looks. You can adjust the starting and ending position, and you can also adjust the speed at which your highlighting moves forward. If you decrease the distance between the two keyframes, then your highlighting will be much faster. And on the other hand, if you move it away, then your highlight will be much slower. And with this method, you can add highlights to your text with just a few clicks on CapCut. To generate automatic subtitles on your video, open up the video or audio file containing the voice. Then just drag it to your timeline, and now click on Captions at the top section. Now from the Auto Captions menu, choose your spoken language, and then just click on the Generate button. You will need to wait for some time until the captions are generated. Once it is done, don't click anywhere else, as right now you can make changes to all of them at the same time. You can click on the play button to see how they look right now, and without clicking anywhere else on the timeline, go into the Templates option from the text menu. Now within this page, you will see various different options. Just hover over to the various different designs to see how they look. And after you find your preferred design, you can simply click on it to download and apply this. Now if you wish to apply this effect to all of the caption, then make sure to choose Apply to All. The caption effect has been applied. And now if you wish to export this, just tap on the Export button, and you may export your subtitles using your desired preferences. You can export with watermark if it works for you. Otherwise, you will need to use a green screen. Just download any green screen image and then add it to your timeline. Now just make sure that it covers the entire video and put it underneath the text layer. Now you can export this video, and even if you export it with your watermark, you can simply crop to the lower half of the video and then remove the green screen by using a chroma key. Once it is exported, you can now import this onto your project file, then drag it back to your timeline and make sure that it is at the topmost layer of your video. Then all that's left to do is to use the chroma key option from the Remove Background feature. Just check this and then use the color picker to select the green color. After this, you can crop this video and remove the topmost layer with the CapCut logo. Click on Confirm, and now the logo has disappeared. You can realign this video to the bottom so that the subtitle falls into place. And now you can export your subtitle and even use it on another application. Now there are various different ways to add overlays on your videos. The simplest kind is to add text overlays. Whenever you add any text, you can simply drag it and add it to the layer just above the video. This will then create a new layer and overlay this text onto this new layer. You can make your desired adjustments, and this new layer can have multiple different items added to it. You can also add various different kinds of stickers, and they will go within their own different layer. Anytime you add a new layer, based on whether you added it above or below, it will be placed accordingly within your videos. So in this case, since I added the text layer underneath the video, it doesn't appear anymore. But if I add it above, then now it begins to appear. Now, just like the text and stickers, you can also overlay any other image on top of this. You can adjust the size of this image, and if you wish to change the height and width as well, make sure to turn off the uniform scale toggle, and now this will allow you to adjust the image or video freely. Just like the image, you can also add another layer of video, and by default it may appear full size, but you can reduce this and then have two different videos playing at the same time as well. Depending upon your requirement, you can add as many different layers within your videos as you want. Now, if you have a video within your project and you would like to add a voiceover without recording it yourself, then simply click on the text option at the top. From here, within the Add Text option, you can choose the default text, or you may also check the various different styles of text that are available within the CapCut library. Let's choose the default text for now. Once you have clicked on the plus button, it will be added to your timeline right away. You can adjust the length and duration of your text. And now, simply enter the text that you desire within the text box at the top right corner. Once you have added your text, it will now begin to appear within your clip. However, this will only make the text appear without the speech. Now, in order to add the speech for your text, just click on the text element to have it selected. Once it is selected, look at the top right corner and you will see the text-to-speech option. Go ahead and click on it And this will now give you various different styles that you can use in order to generate text-to-speech. Just choose whichever style that you wish, and then click on the Generate Speech option. You should also note that this is only available within the Pro version. After clicking on the Generate option, this will generate your script, and an audio file will also be created from your text. And now you can check the preview and see how it sounds by clicking on the play button.
This is a test for the text-to-speech feature, available on CapCut.
Just drag your video onto your timeline. And now in order to speed up this video, make sure that it is clicked and selected. You will now see the speed option at the top right corner. Go ahead and click on it. And now you can change the speed of your video. Once the speed tab is selected, you will also find a white indicator at the top section of your clip in the timeline. You can click and hold to manually drag and change your speed. You may also use the speed value option to increase or decrease your speed, and you can manually type the value that you want as well. This will then apply the change to your video right away. Now, if you wish to change the speed multiple times within your video, then you can do this by two different methods. You can do this manually by making various different cuts at the points from which you would like to speed up your video. So I just made a cut at this point from which I would like to speed up this video until the 5-second mark. So make another cut at the point where you would like to end your speed ramp. Now, once this small clip is selected, you can increase your speed by once again using the slider or by entering the value manually. Now, when you check out the preview, you will find that your manual speed ramp is working. You can also use the curve option in order to use various different speed curves. To make your own, click on the custom button, and now you will gain access to the speed curve. You can use the vertical bar to navigate towards various sections of your video, and the points that you find across the video can be used to define your speed ramp. If you move it upward, the speed will increase for the defined duration, and you can also change the speed ramp point by clicking and dragging to your desired point in the video. Just try watching the preview to see how the speed ramp works, and you may adjust it accordingly. You can also change the duration of the speed ramp by dragging the endpoint closer or farther away. When you drag it closer, the speed ramp duration will decrease, as you can see in the preview right here. If you drag it far away, the speed ramp duration will increase, and it will last for a longer section of the video. You can also add points by clicking on the plus button at any point where you would like to change your speed ramp value. And by following this method, you can do speed ramps within your video on multiple points. Now that you already know how to speed ramp your videos, you can use the reverse process to create a slow motion effect. So in this case, from the speed slider, I can simply swipe towards the left to achieve my desired speed. You can also enter your desired speed value directly within the box and press enter, and this will apply your desired speed onto your video right away. Now, with the speed tab selected, you can also drag the small white part at the top section of your video clip within the timeline, and once you click and hold, you can adjust your desired speed by simply dragging within the timeline. Now, if you would like to add slow motion throughout various different sections of your video, then you will need to use a speed ramp or do it manually. You can simply cut before the section where you want to lower down the speed, and then choose the endpoint once again. After making another cut at the endpoint, you can simply choose your clip of which you would like to decrease your speed, and then you can once again choose the speed slider or the slider within the timeline itself. Now here I have a footage of some people running a marathon. Let me just drag it into the timeline, and now let's just say I want to track any object or text to this Super Mario guy right here. To do this, you can use any object. First, let's try with the text. Just add your text element, choose your text style. Once you enter your desired text, just click on Tracking at the top section. Now click on Motion Tracking, and you will now get this yellow square. Just move this square to the object that you want to track your object with. You can move the location of your object to any area. After you have set up your target, click on the Start button to begin tracking. Once the tracking is completed, you can check the preview of how it looks. And now, your motion tracking has been applied to your video. With any other object such as a sticker, just import this sticker onto your timeline, and once again go to the tracking menu. After choosing motion tracking, just choose the object that you want to attach this to. Then click on Start once again, and now your motion tracking will begin right away. And that is how you can use motion tracking with your video on CapCut. If you wish to remove background on CapCut, Just drag the video or photo onto the timeline from which you would like to remove the background. After it is on your timeline, just click on it to reveal the properties at the top right corner. Now underneath the video tab, you will directly see the Remove BG option. Just click on it, and you can use the auto removal option if you have access to the Pro version. When you click on this, it will remove the background automatically. You can add a stroke if you wish by enabling it, and when you download any stroke, it will be applied right away. You can adjust the size and the color of the stroke based on your preference as well. And now you can begin editing your videos with your background removed. If you wish to change the background, you can just drag your preferred background underneath the layer of this video or photo from which you just removed the background. And now you can freely adjust the size and place it wherever you like within the video. This trick can be really handy if you're doing a commentary video, such as gameplay on YouTube. Now, if you don't have access to the Pro feature, you can go to the Custom Removal option, and from here, you can use the various different brush to highlight the character that you want to keep. Once you have highlighted the character with your brush, you can click on the Apply button, and this will remove the background from your picture once again. Just open up the audio file within which you would like to change the voice. Then simply drag it onto your timeline, and this is how the audio sounds without making any changes. This is a test recording where I'm going to try changing the voice using CapCut. Now, in order to change this audio file, make sure that you have clicked on the audio to select it. Now, if you look at the top right corner, you will find the voice changer option. Go ahead and click on it, and this will now show you various different voice filters as well as voice character. If you simply wish to apply a filter onto your voice, you can use any of the filter options. Let us try the high filter and see how it sounds. You can just click on the respective download button, and this will now be applied to your audio. You can see that the filter that you have selected has appeared alongside the audio file name. You may also change the pitch as well as the timbre of your sound in order to give it a more natural feel. You may check how it sounds after making your adjustments by once again playing back the audio.
This is a test recording where I'm going to try changing the voice using CapCut.
This is a test recording where I'm going to try changing the voice using CapCut.
There are various filters that you can try and see, and if you don't wish to use any filter, make sure that original is selected. In order to change your voice into various different characters, click on the voice characters option. You will now see various different characters that you can change your voice into. Most of the characters are only available on the Pro version. However, there are some that you can use for free. After downloading and clicking on the character, it will be applied to your audio once again. And once the voice character has been applied, you will see its name alongside your audio file name once again. You can now check how the audio sounds.
This is a test recording where I'm going to try changing the voice using CapCut.
And now you can see the before and the after results. This is a test recording where I am going to try changing the voice using CapCut.
This is a test recording where I'm going to try changing the voice using CapCut.
Let's begin by dropping a video on the timeline. And now in order to access the color grading, click on the video, and from the top right, click on Adjust. This will now open up the color grading tools. At first, you have the basic options. Now, depending upon which version of the application you are using, you may find some AI tools, but that is not what this video is about. If you scroll down, you will see the Adjust section, where you can now find the color grading settings. You have the temperature, the tint, the saturation, and the lightness. Within lightness, there is the contrast, the exposure, highlight, shadow, whites, blacks, brilliance, and a whole lot more. Apart from the basic settings, you have the HSL, which stands for hue, saturation, and brightness or luminance. This will allow you to individually change the hue, saturation, and brightness of only the selected color within your video or picture. So for instance, if I select the red only, then this will only affect the red part of the video. The same goes for all of these 8 colors. You can do this for all of the 8 major colors within the HSL tool. Now let's understand each of the basic and the HSL tools. The first option we have is Temp, which stands for temperature. By moving this slider, you can either make the temperature of the video warmer or colder. Judging by the colors, moving it to the left will make it colder, and moving it to the right will make it warmer. Next, we have the Tint option, which is also called Hue sometimes. Now, judging by the slider, you can either make your video appear more greenish or more purple. Now, while the hue or the tint section simply allows you to adjust the greenish or the purplish tones. If you go into the HSL section, you can manually adjust the hue or the tint for all of the 8 major color tones. Next up, we have the saturation. You can think of the saturation as the amount of color within your video. If you move it all the way to the left, then your video or picture loses all colors. And if you move it all the way to the right, then the amount of color is increased. So just remember, less saturation means less colorful, and more saturation means more colorful. This setting is used to make the video either more dull or more vibrant. Alright, so now that we know about temperature, tint or hue as well as saturation, we can go into the HSL tab to use the hue and saturation to achieve our desired colors. Let me first start with the red one. Now, the hue slider, as we already know, can manipulate your color tone. So right now, if you pay attention to the red shirt, if I move the hue to the left, it will make it more pinkish. And if I move it to the right, it will make it more orange. Now, the saturation tool will either make his red shirt look more colorful and vibrant or dull. Underneath, we have the brightness, which will either increase or decrease the brightness of the red color. Now, if you click on the orange tab, you will notice that within the hue, the leftmost side is the red one, and the rightmost side is the yellow, which is the next color within the 8 primary colors of the HSL section. So this means that whenever you increase or decrease the hue, the tone will shift more or less towards the 8 primary colors alongside it. So here, if I decrease the hue to the left side, then you can see the red shirt becomes more prominent. If I move it to the right, then the shirt now gets a more yellowish tone. Once again, the saturation slider will either make the orange tones more dull or vibrant. Next up is the yellow color, and as you can guess, when you slide the hue to the left, the yellow color tones within the video will turn to orange, and if you move it to the right, they will turn green, as it is the color that lies directly next to it. Now again, the saturation control will either make the yellow tones less colorful or more colorful. Now we have the green tone, and by now you probably guessed the pattern already. If you move the hue to the left, the green colors in the video will turn more yellow, and if you move it to the right, it will turn more turquoise. As with the saturation, moving it to the left will make the green colors dull, and moving it to the right will make it pop out and more vibrant. Now, moving on to the blue color, the only blue object in this video is the sky and the short that the sky is wearing. If we move the hue to the left, the blue part will start to turn more green, and if you move it to the right, it will turn more turquoise. Same with the saturation. Decreasing it will take away the colors, and increasing it will add more. Now moving on to turquoise, this is the darker shade of blue. If you move it to the left, then the darker shade of blue will turn light, or closer to the lighter shade of blue. And if you move it to the right, it will turn more purple. Now, as you can see, the turquoise is also affecting the sky, as it is closer in color to the previous shade of blue. You can increase or decrease the amount of blue color by using the saturation slider once again. Now we have the indigo, where moving it to the left will make it more turquoise, and moving it to the right will turn it pink. Now, since this video doesn't have any pink or indigo objects, messing around with the saturation or hue doesn't really show any changes. And there is no visible difference when moving the hue all the way left or right as well. Alright, now that we have the knowledge of all 3 tabs and the HSL tools, we can use this to color grade this video right now. Let's start with the red color. I want to make his shirt more vibrant and appear red. Now, if I move the hue slider to the right, the red will become more orange, which is something that I do not want. Let's try moving it a little bit to the left, and I can see a little more red increasing. Let me just set it right there and increase the saturation of the red color. And now suddenly, the player's shirt has become more vibrant compared to before. You can always uncheck and recheck this basic option to turn off and turn on to see the before and after effects. Let me also try moving the brightness a little bit to the left so that the shirt gets a darker shade of red. Make sure you also pay attention to other red objects within the background. Next up, let's go to the orange color. Now, since there is some amount of orange in the shirt, I can move the slider to the left so that the orange color turns into red. Now, as you can see, the shirt has become even more red than before. But keep in mind that it should not affect the other areas. For example, when I increase the red of the shirt, the trees in the background also start to turn red. So play around with the setting and find the most suitable spot. Now, when I increase the saturation a little bit, the orange color in the grass pops out, which is not something that I really desire. So I'm just going to slightly move the saturation down a little bit to a -5. I will also slightly lower the brightness to give the red color a more darker tone. Now let's move to yellow. And within this photograph, all the yellow tones can be moved to green so that the grass pops out more. Let's swipe the hue to the right. And now suddenly the field looks much more green and rich. However, swiping it all the way to the right will make it look kind of fake. So I'm going to slightly move it to around 50 because we still have the green color available to manipulate. Now I'm going to slightly increase the saturation as well to about 10. Next up, let's go to the green color. And now I'm going to slightly switch the hue towards bluish so that the grass looks even more rich. Let's increase the saturation a little bit. And now I'm going to turn down the brightness to reduce the exposure a little bit. Next up, we have the blue color, which I'm going to slightly move towards turquoise. The saturation could also do a little better, so I'm going to boost it all the way up. Moving the brightness doesn't really make sense within this context, so I'm going to leave it as it is. Now by using the turquoise color, I'm going to try and make the sky a little more blue. If we swipe the hue to the left, then it gains a little more bluish color, so let's leave it a little bit to the left and increase the saturation. Now going anywhere beyond this would start to make it look a little bit fake. And on top of that, the video doesn't really have much blue in it to play around with. Now with the purple tone, let's try and move the hue to the left to see if any of the blue pops out. Since there is not much difference, I will be skipping the purple and the pink. Now let's check out the before and after results. Let's uncheck the basic option. And this is how the video looked before. As you can see, the grass doesn't really look much green, and overall the color is a bit dull. And this is the after results, where the details are popping out more, the grass looks rich and vibrant, and the details pop out even more. And that, my friends, is everything you need to know to color grade using HSL. Let's go back to the basic, and now you have the lightness section. First of all, there's the exposure, which is used to increase or decrease the brightness within your photographs or video. So if you move it to the left, your video will get darker, and if you move it to the right, it will make it much brighter. Decreasing the exposure will make your colors appear more dull, and if you move it to the right, your colors can appear more vibrant. Next up is the contrast. Now, this option will either make the colors in your video contrast from each other or try to blend in a little more. So if the contrast is lowered, then the difference between the bright and the dark part within the colors will decrease, making it blend in together. And if you increase the contrast, this will increase the difference between the bright and the dark part as well, making it much more prominent. As you can see, reducing the difference between the bright and dark part to its maximum has now made the sky much more visible. If you decrease the contrast, the colors will start to fade more. The difference in various colors will be less noticeable. And if you increase this, the different color tones and the various colors will be much more noticeable. So just remember that the higher the contrast is, the more noticeable the difference will be between the brightest and the darkest colors within your video. Next up, we have the highlight. This tab will affect the brightest parts of your video. So if you move it to the left, the brightest part will become more dark. And if you move it to the right, the brightest sections will become even more bright. Lowering the highlight will also give a darker undertone to your footage, and increasing it will make the brightest parts appear more colorful and vivid. Next up, we have the exact opposite, which is the shadow. This will affect the darkest parts of your video. So if you reduce the shadow, then the darkest parts of the video will become even more darker. And if you move it to the right, then the darkest sections will start to turn brighter. Now increasing the shadow can give your color tone more vibrance, and decreasing it will make it darker. Just remember that highlight and shadow are the exact opposite. With highlight, you manipulate the brightest parts, and with shadow, you manipulate the darkest parts. Next up, we have the illumination section that is broken down into whites, blacks, and brilliance. This is used to manipulate the overall brightness of your video. So if you increase the whites, then the brightness of the white part will be increased. And if you increase the blacks, then the brightness of the dark part will be increased. This functions pretty much the same as highlight and shadow, but it affects the overall picture and not just the bright and dark parts. With the Brilliance tab, you can increase or decrease the prominence of your color, so your colors can either pop out more brightly or become less prominent. Next up, we have the effects section. Here, the first option is sharpen. If you increase this all the way to 100, it will make the image more sharp and highlight the details, making them crisp and clear. If it is set at 0, then no such details will pop out, and the individual pixels will more or less blend in with each other. Here we can see that 0 sharpness makes everything blend in together, and increasing it makes each of the pixels pop out. Next up, we have the clarity, which will either increase the distinction between the colors or decrease it. You can use this to make your colors pop out even more. Increasing the clarity will increase the contrast between the various colors without affecting the brightness too much. Next up, we have the particles, which can add grain onto your video. When the particle is at 0%, you don't see any grains on the screen. But when you increase, this will increase the amount of grain on your footage. You can try increasing or decreasing the particles subtly to give it a more vintage or retro feel. Now we have the fade slider, which is used to fade out your colors. If you increase the fade slider, the colors will look more faded, as if it was a picture that was painted long ago. You can add the fade effect to make your video look more foggy and nostalgic. Finally, we have the vignette, which can either add a shadow or highlight to the corners of your video. If you move it to the left, this will add a white highlight, and if you move it to the right, it will add a dark shadow around the corners. Okay, now that we have gone through everything within the Basic tab, we're going to color grade the same video by just using the Basic section. Let us disable all of the effects from HSL and reset everything to the default value. First, let's start with the temperature. I'm simply going to swipe it and slide it to both of the sides to see which one feels better. Now, by default, the video already has much more warmer tone, so when I move it around, the colors at the left side seem much better. I'm going to put it a little bit to the left. Also pay attention to the environment, which will allow you to decide which color tone would suit best. Next up, let's move to the tint. And if I move to the left, the green parts become a little more prominent, but so does the sky. So I'm not going to move it too much to the left, perhaps just around a -5. Moving on to saturation, I want to increase the color and make it more vivid. Let's slide it to the right, and now the green colors are popping out more. However, you don't want to overdo it, as it will seem too fake. Let's set it to a modest 15. And now let's go further down. Now within the lightness section, we have the exposure. With this, I can make the video darker or brighter. Now moving it to the left doesn't really seem like a good choice, and increasing the brightness too much will also make the colors lose distinction. So I'm going to simply put it at 4. For the contrast, I would prefer the colors to pop out individually. So I'm going to increase the contrast until it doesn't look as fake, but I want the colors to pop out more. You should play around the contrast and the exposure simultaneously to achieve a good balance for your desired lighting conditions and the color intensity. Next up, we have the highlight, which will make the brightest parts of the video either more bright or dark. If I move it to the left, the brightest parts become more darker, and if I move it to the right, it becomes more brighter. For this particular scene, making it dark doesn't really make much sense, so I'm going to increase it slightly to around 13. Then we have the shadow, which, if you remember, is the exact opposite of highlight. This will make the darkest parts of your video either darker or brighter. Let's move it to the left first, and then check to the right. Now for this particular situation, I prefer to go to the left, as it makes the color pop out a little bit and also removes some unnecessary lighting. Now let's go to the whites, blacks, and the brilliance. Increasing the whites will increase the overall brightness, and decreasing it will decrease the brightness. For this particular case, I'm going to increase it slightly, as doing so is giving the atmosphere a little more pleasant tone. Next up is the blacks, and for this particular case, I don't see any use for increasing or decreasing the blacks. Perhaps a -1 or 2 is a good balance. Next up with brilliance, I don't think I need any more lighting within this video, so I'm going to leave it as it is. Now we have the effects section. Now sharpening will make the details pop out more, so I'm going to increase the sharpness a little bit. It is recommended to do this very subtly, as going all the way to 100 will make it look artificial and fake. After playing around a little bit, I think a value of around 12 or 13 is good enough. Next up is the clarity. By increasing this, I can add details by increasing contrast between the layers. Just check by swiping it all the way to either end and try to find a good balance. For this case, something like a 29 or a 28 looks good enough. Next up is particles. This will add grain onto your footage. Make sure not to overdo it, as it doesn't really look that good. Now, particles are also more of a stylistic choice. So in most of the cases, it is completely fine if you leave it at 0. In case of fade, I'm not going to touch it as well, as this is simply going to dilute the color and make it more faded. And in case of vignette, it is not really a requirement for this video. Now that we're done with basic, we can move on to the HSL section and fine-tune our color even more. For any video, it is recommended that you first start with the basic and then move to the HSL section. And that, my friends, is how you can color grade on CapCut in under 10 minutes. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and like the video if you find it useful. Also ring that notification bell for more video editing tips and tutorials.